What is that?
The billionaire security guard pointed a gun at the tattooed biker's head and told him to step away from the seizing 7-year-old. But Brondby grabbed a bottle of $1,000 vodka, poured it over his rusty pliers, and did the one thing that would either save the girl's life or land him in prison. And what he pulled out of her ear made everyone realize the deaf child had been screaming in silence for 3 years. Before we dive into this incredible story, where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments. I love seeing where our community is tuning in from around the world. And if you believe that heroes don't always look like heroes, then hit that subscribe button right now. Now let's get into the story. The asphalt at the Gould estate gate was melting. Mr. Brondby could smell it. Hot tar and money, baking together under 108-degree Las Vegas sun. He sat on the curb next to his '98 Harley Softail, unwrapping a gas station bologna sandwich with hands that looked like they'd lost fights with machinery. Inside the glass mansion 50 yards away, people in silk moved through air-conditioned rooms that probably cost more to cool per hour than Brondby made in a week. He took a bite. The bread was already warm. A security golf cart buzzed past without slowing. The driver, some kid in a crisp uniform, didn't even look at him. To them, Brondby was furniture. A tattooed scarecrow in a leather vest, there to keep the riffraff out while looking like riffraff himself. That's when he saw her. The little girl appeared from behind the West Hedge maze, her white dress somehow still pristine despite the dust. Nia Gould, 7 years old, the silent princess, the staff called her. Deaf since birth. According to the $1 million specialist, her father flew in from Boston and Switzerland. She walked toward Brondby with that strange, tilted gait, like the world was slightly off axis for her. Most people looked away when she approached, made them uncomfortable, the silence. But Brondby held her gaze. She stopped 3 feet from his bike, staring at the chrome like it was a sleeping dragon. Brondby glanced back at the house. No tutors, no nannies, just the girl and the guard nobody watched. He kicked the Softail to life. The engine roared, a deep, primal growl that made the air vibrate. Nia's eyes went wide, not with fear, but with something else. Recognition. Brondby patted the gas tank. She stepped closer, hesitant. He took her small hand, soft as powder compared to his calloused palm, and pressed it flat against the metal. The bike rumbled beneath her fingers. Her whole body went still. Then her eyes lit up like someone had turned on a switch inside her. She wasn't hearing the sound. She was feeling it. The thump, thump, thump of the engine traveling up her arm, into her chest, syncing with her heartbeat. Brondby tapped his own chest twice, thump, thump, then pointed to the bike. Her lips curved into the first smile he'd ever seen on her face. Then a voice cracked across the courtyard like a whip. Brondby, he killed the engine. Nia's hand jerked away. Head of security Miller was striding toward them, hand already on his radio, sunglasses reflecting nothing but trouble. What the hell do you think you're doing? Miller stood 6 feet away, tactical vest strapped over a polo shirt that had never seen a day of real work. His sunglasses cost more than Brondby's bike payment. His hands, soft, manicured, rested on a Glock he'd probably never fired outside a range. Just keeping her company, Brondby said, standing slowly. Nia had already retreated behind the hedge. That's not your job, grease monkey. Miller stepped closer, chin up. Your job is to sit at that gate and keep trash out. Though I guess that's hard when you are the trash. Brondby's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Men like Miller fed on reactions. I see you near that girl again. I'll have you arrested for harassment. Maybe assault. Who's going to believe an ex-con biker over me? Miller smiled. All teeth, no warmth. Now get back to your post before I fire you, and call your parole officer. Brondby walked back to the gate, blood pounding in his temples. But he didn't ride off. He watched. 3 days later, he saw it. Nia was sitting alone by the koi pond, her expensive tutor scrolling through her phone 20 feet away. The girl's head was tilted wrong. Not like she was listening, but like she was hurting. She had a twig in her hand, poking at her right ear. Digging. Scratching. Then the wind picked up. Hot desert gusts. And Nia flinched like she'd been slapped. Brondby's instincts fired. That wasn't deafness. That was pain. He crossed the lawn before he could think twice. The tutor looked up, startled, but didn't stop him. Brondby knelt beside Nia. She didn't pull away, just looked at him with those big, trusting eyes. He leaned in close, and he smelled it. Faint, sickly sweet, like meat left in the sun. Infection. He'd smelled it before, 20 years ago in the Gulf, when a kid from Tulsa got shrapnel in his leg and wouldn't admit it hurt until the wound went septic. By then, they had to take the leg. This girl wasn't deaf. She was blocked, and whatever was inside her was rotting. Brondby found Preston Gould in his home office, a room with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the Strip. Gould sat behind a desk made of Italian marble, wearing a headset, waving his hand at stock tickers on 3 monitors. "Mr. Gould, I need to talk to you about Nia." Gould held up one finger. "Not now. Sir, it's important." "She's not." "I said not now." Gould muted his call, irritated. "Whatever maintenance issue you have, take it to Miller. It's not maintenance. Your daughter is sick. She needs—" The office door slammed open. Miller filled the doorway, hand on his holster. "I told you to stay away from her." He grabbed Brondby's shoulder hard. "You're done. Pack your shit. She has an infection. She has a medical team that costs more than your life." Miller shoved Brondby toward the hallway. "You come near her again, I'll put you down myself. That's a promise." Brondby stumbled back, catching himself on the doorframe. Gould had already unmuted his call, talking about quarterly earnings. As Miller slammed the door, Brondby heard it. A child screamed from the pool deck. Nia. The Weather Channel called it Hell's Anvil. 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Record-breaking even for Vegas. The kind of heat that made asphalt bubble and car steering wheels burn palms. But worse than the temperature was the pressure drop, a low-pressure system rolling in from the desert, making ears pop and sinuses throb. For Nia Gould, trapped infection and all, it was a time bomb. Preston Gould was hosting a charity gala by the infinity pool. 200 guests in designer gowns and tuxedos, sipping champagne that cost more per bottle than Brondby made in a month. White-gloved waiters circulated with caviar. A string quartet played something classical and forgettable. Nia stood at the edge of the pool in her white dress, one hand pressed against her ear. Brondby watched from a gate 50 yards away. Something was wrong. The girl's face was sheet white. She was swaying. Then she opened her mouth. No sound came out, but her face contorted in a silent, primal scream of agony. Her hands flew to her head, clawing at her ear. Her legs buckled. She hit the marble deck hard. The guests gasped. Champagne glasses froze halfway to lips. But nobody moved. They just stared, like Nia was a piece of modern art they didn't understand. The nanny dropped her tray, hands covering her mouth, paralyzed. Nia's body began to convulse. Her eyes rolled back, showing only whites. Foam appeared at the corner of her mouth. Miller shoved through the crowd, shouting into his radio. "We need a medical evac. Now, get the concierge doctor on the line. Protocol 7, I repeat, Protocol 7. Protocol. Procedure. While a child's brain was cooking from infection pressure, Brondby's legs moved before his mind caught up. He vaulted the decorative fence separating the service area from the main grounds, boots hitting the grass at a dead sprint. Guests turned, startled by the tattooed biker crashing their party like a nightmare made flesh. "Somebody help her!" A woman in pearl shrieked, but she didn't move. Miller spun, saw Brondby charging across the lawn. His hand went to his holster. "Stop right there." Brondby didn't stop. 30 yards. 20. Nia's seizure was getting worse. Her fingers were rigid, clawing at nothing. A trickle of blood ran from her ear. The infection had ruptured something. "Brondby, I'm warning you." Miller drew his weapon, a Glock 19, chrome finish, probably never fired in anger. "Do not touch that girl." 10 yards. The guests scattered like startled birds. A woman screamed. The string quartet stopped mid-note. Brondby could see Nia's lips turning blue. Oxygen deprivation. Brain swelling. She had minutes, maybe less. Miller's hand was shaking. The gun pointed at Brondby's chest. "I will shoot you. I swear to God." Brondby dropped to his knees beside Nia, ignoring the barrel 3 feet from his skull. "Then shoot me after I save her life." His hand went to his belt, pulling out his rusty Leatherman multi-tool. His other hand reached for the bottle of Grey Goose vodka on the nearest table. Miller's finger touched the trigger. Brondby twisted the cap off the Grey Goose with his teeth. The $1,000 vodka splashed over his Leatherman, washing away grease and rust. It wasn't surgical-grade sterile, but it would have to do. Miller's gun was still pointed at his head, 3 feet away, the man's finger white on the trigger. "Last chance, Brondby." "Then pull it." Brondby flipped open the needle-nose pliers. Nia's convulsions had slowed. She was going limp. Worse. Her chest barely moved. A man in an expensive suit burst through the crowd, face red with rage. "Preston Gould, get away from my daughter." He was sprinting now, 20 feet away, arms pumping. Security. Brondby didn't have 20 seconds. He had 5. He pressed his knee gently but firmly on Nia's shoulder, stabilizing her. His left hand tilted her head, exposing the infected ear. The smell hit him full force now, rot and copper and something chemical. To the crowd of silk and diamonds watching in horror, it looked like an assault. The scarred biker, face inches from the child's, holding her down with brutal efficiency. Brondby inserted the pliers. Nia's body jerked weakly. He felt the metal scrape against something hard, not bone. Something foreign, calcified, wrong. He adjusted his grip, pinched and pulled. Resistance. Then a wet, sucking pop. The object came free. It was black, crusty with infection, the size of a shooter marble. Dark blood and pus oozed from the girl's ear. Brondby wiped the object on his jeans, clearing away the grime. Underneath, something sparkled. He held it up to the desert sun. A diamond stud earring. Huge. Brilliant cut. Probably 2 carats. The post was bent and corroded, embedded in dead tissue and calcium deposits. It looked like something excavated from a tomb. Preston Gould skidded to a stop beside him, panting. His face went white. That's Marie's earring. She lost it 3 years ago when Nia was 4. The little girl gasped. A real, shuddering breath. Her eyes fluttered open, and she flinched at the sound of a bird chirping in a nearby tree. Miller's boot connected with Brondby's ribs before anyone could react. "You're under arrest for..." Then Nia screamed. Not silent this time. Loud. Miller slammed Brondby, face first, into the scorching marble. The handcuffs bit into his wrists, drawing blood. "Assault on a minor. You're done. You piece of friend. The word cut through the chaos like a gunshot. Nia was sitting up, pointing at Brondby with a trembling hand. Tears streamed down her face, but her eyes were clear. She flinched as the ambulance siren wailed in the distance, the first sound she'd heard in years. Friend, she screamed again louder. Preston Gould dropped to his knees beside his daughter, the bloody diamond earring in his shaking hand. The realization hit him like a fist. Millions spent on specialists, and the answer had been rotting inside her the whole time. The paramedics arrived, examined Brondby's work, and confirmed what everyone now knew. He'd saved her from a brain abscess. Miller's gun and badge were confiscated on the spot. Fired. The police uncuffed Brondby without a word. Gould pulled out his checkbook, hands trembling. Name your price. Brondby ripped it in half. He walked to his Harley, pulled a small brass bell from his saddlebag, the kind bikers hung for luck, and pressed it into Nia's palm. When you hear this ring, he said quietly, you remember somebody gave a damn. She clutched it, nodding through tears. Brondby kick-started his Softail. The engine roared to life, that deep, beautiful rumble. Nia's face lit up at the sound. The silent princess who couldn't hear was now grinning at the thunder of a Harley engine. Money might buy you doctors, but it can't buy someone willing to bleed for you. If you believe that real courage isn't about wearing a badge or a suit, it's about doing what's right when everyone tells you to stop. Like and share this story. Subscribe now for more stories like this. Also check out the 2 videos showing on the screen right now, specially crafted for you.